Tonight on Sasquatch Theory, we're diving into a chilling encounter right here from Missouri. I'm joined by Josh, who lives just southeast of Kansas City and has spent years camping and exploring near the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area, never imagining that something strange was living right under everyone's nose. One evening after leaving work near a power plant, Josh noticed a dark figure kneeling beside a pond. At first, he tried to brush it off until someone in the town's Facebook discussion group posted about seeing the exact same black creature crouched by the water. That was the moment everything clicked. Curiosity turned into investigation, and Josh began connecting the dots. Strange bones found near the lake, clusters of pushed-down trees, and sightings from other locals describing the creatures as looking like a black grizzly bear. As Josh returned to the area with a friend, the activity escalated. They witnessed unexplained lights coming out of the lake and, soon after, heard a whoop and a yell echoing across the dark water. When Josh called back, the creature answered with the same haunting vocalization. Add in the power plant, the power lines, the old cemetery nearby, and past encounter reports documented on the BFRO, and suddenly, this quiet Missouri lake becomes a hotspot of bizarre activity that demands a closer look. If you've had a Sasquatch or cryptid encounter anywhere in North America, feel free to get in touch with me at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. If you guys can, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to comment down below. If you want to help support Sasquatch Theory, you can make a PayPal donation, you can purchase some merchandise, or you can leave a thanks donation through YouTube. Thank you everyone for watching the channel. It truly means a lot, and I want to give a big thanks to everyone who has donated and supported the channel in the past. With all that being said, let's dive straight into Josh's cryptid encounters from the state of Missouri. All right, Josh, welcome to Sasquatch Theory. How are you doing today?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for asking, Josh. If you would, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your Bigfoot experiences from the very beginning, please.
Okay. I was born in Alabama, and I grew up in East Texas. And now, for the past 24 years, I've lived about 30 minutes southeast of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a custodian, so nothing special there. Small business owner as well. So I've always thought there might be a Bigfoot out there somewhere. I ain't never been against him or nothing. But not until I started listening to your YouTube and stuff. And then I was like, kind of made me think maybe he is out there,
Yeah, absolutely. And what type of activity have you experienced? Can you kind of put me in your shoes and take me back to the moment that you had this strange experience that you can't explain?
Okay. Well, I lived out in the country for 12 years and I never thought about any Bigfoot, being around my area or whatever. And then I started listening to you about a year ago. And then I was like, we've got a power plant, we've got power lines, we've got a couple of lakes and a cemetery right across the street from the power plant that's behind me or behind my house. And that's all the stuff that I've heard you say that Sasquatches are usually like to be around. So that's when I got a hold of you a few months ago. But here last Thursday, I was coming home from Walmart and I was coming the back way, and it's a country road, and there's this big lake that I always cruise by because it's next to the road. nice lake, pretty good size. I was coming home Thursday night from Walmart, and I looked over there, and there was this black thing knelt down in the middle of the frozen pond, and I was like, "What?" So I like stopped and I backed up so I could get a better look at it, and it was like knelt down in the middle of the pond, and I was like, "No, that can't be." And I was like, "Could it be?" And I was like, "Dang, I don't know." Then these dogs, my phone was dead, so I didn't get to take a picture, but these three big old dogs like surrounded my truck. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get out of here. And that was it. I didn't think nothing more about it Thursday night. And then later on our Facebook Towns discussion page, somebody had posted something saying, "Did anybody see that thing on the pond on that street?" And I was like, "Well, son of a bitch, yeah, actually I did." So I responded to him and I was like, "Well, I seen one thing that kind of looked like a bear, but it was like knelt down." And I was like, "I don't really think bears really do that." And I was like, "You might have been getting a drink of water or something. I don't know what was going on." And the person that said they seen it, they said they thought it was a giant grizzly bear um, knelt down, but it could have been a Bigfoot because I was like, I thought I was looking at a Bigfoot. And so so I'm not the only one who's seen it, so that made me feel good. The rest of the town, they had a good little chuckle about it, but I mean, I don't care. I know what I've seen, and you know, and then I I ain't got in touch with that person on again or nothing, but so we both seen something, and I was like, okay, oh, that was cool. And I went back last Monday. I took lunch and I went out that way and looked to see if I could see anything, and I couldn't see nothing. The pond was pretty much thawing out, so and then I decided to cruise out to our city lake over here in this town where I'm at, and I'd hiked there when I first started listening to you about a year ago. I decided to because they got a bunch of trails and stuff out there at our lake, and our lake, the I've been told that the runoff from the power plant like runs into our lake, so like not to eat the fish there is what I've been told. I don't know for sure, but I mean it's like in a line down from the power plant, so I mean I could see where water would be flowing over there. But anyways, and so I parked my truck and I decided to take a walk about a year ago around some of the trails and stuff out there. And I tried to send you the video. I immediately seen a jawbone of something, maybe a deer or something, I don't know. And then there was a bunch of like pushed down looking trees and stuff. And I'm like, it's hard to believe that nobody else would have heard or seen anything at this lake. Because I mean, people camp there. I've camped at this lake. It's pretty busy. Um, so I mean, I don't know if people have noticed anything. They just ain't said nothing or what. But I just thought it was pretty weird. But like I said, I seen the jawbone of a deer or something and a bunch of trees pushed over and stuff. So I'm like, huh. And then last Monday after I went back out to that lake by the power plant where I thought I seen a Bigfoot. I went to the lake after that, um, to the other lake, the city lake here in town after that, and I was with my friend from work, and it was real muddy out there, so I didn't want to take my truck. It's 2-wheel drive, whatever. So we went out there, and as soon as we got there, my friend seen it first. There was two lights in the middle of the lake, and they went up, and they moved around a little bit and then they disappeared. I've never seen anything like that at this lake at all. I ain't never seen no weird stuff. I ain't never heard no weird stuff until last Monday. And I'm like, huh. So we were both like, wow, look at that. And then we we'd stopped, and then when the lights disappeared, two of them, we cruised on down the around the lake some more, and we heard, me and him both heard like it was like a whoop and a yell like three times. And I was like, okay. So I decided to, I don't know how to do that stuff, but I decided to kind of whoop and yell myself, and it responded back again. And me and my friend were like, wow, that's crazy. And then it stopped, and we waited for a little bit, and then we took off again, and went around the rest of the lake and didn't see or hear nothing else weird. And then we came back to work and everything was good. But I don't know, it's just weird. I mean, like I said, I've camped at this lake before and I ain't never heard nothing weird or seen anything weird or I just didn't notice, you know. Um, and then when I lived in the country for 12 years outside of town here, I had like a bunch of forest and stuff around me. I walked through there all the time and never thought, heard, or seen a Bigfoot or nothing like that out there either. But I think he's out there, Miguel. I really do.
Yeah, that's incredible. I remember you contacting me a few months ago wondering if I'd go out there and check out that area with you. That's wild that you had this encounter with this black creature that was knelt down in the pond. What do you think it was?
I don't know. It might have been a Bigfoot. It looked like well, like that lady that posted on there with me. It looked like a grizzly bear, but it was like knelt down, like it was getting a drink of water. And I mean, I was on the road and it was in the middle of the pond. It was a good 100 yards maybe away or so. So it was not dark yet, but it was getting close, to being dark. I could still see it was light enough to see. So I know what I saw. And like I said, it was just a black, solid black, looked like a grizzly bear that was like knelt down. So
Yeah, that's wild. I bet a creature like that would have left some tracks by the pond. Did you ever go back and check anything out?
that pond that's next to the power plant that I seen it, it's a private pond, so you can't really like walk around out there. I don't know who owns it either. Um, but out at the lake, that is not private. I mean, that's anybody can go out there. But no, I haven't never seen any tracks or anything around there. Just the jawbone and a bunch of trees and stuff pushed down and stuff. And then the whooping and yell and the two lights that came down on the lake and then went back up and then down again and went up and then disappeared. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, that is wild. Is it a nuclear power plant? Is that what's in the area?
I don't know if it's nuclear. Somebody said it was a coal power plant, but it is a power plant, and that's the lines go straight down towards the lake here. So our city lake. But and then there's a cemetery right across the street from the power plant, and it goes back to like 1839 or something like that. It's a really old cemetery,
Yeah,
but bunch of trees, bunch of forest area and stuff. It's a lot, man.
yeah, it does sound like it has the right terrain for Sasquatch. You got a lot of woods. You got the power plant, which a lot of people have mentioned seeing Bigfoot by power plants for some reason. You got the power lines and the waterways. So I could see why that creature's hanging out there.
I think it is, man. I mean, like I said, I'd like to do some investigating, but I ain't got all the fancy equipment and stuff. I do got binoculars, though, but yeah, I think it would be worth checking out at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if there's been any past reports there, maybe like on the BFRO's website or something.
Funny that you should say that because I looked at that ever since I've been watching you. I checked out that map, Bigfoot map or whatever, and to see if there was any sightings reported around my area. And actually, there has been one like 15 minutes down the road. Uh, James A. Reed is what the it's a bunch of lakes in one area, but there's been a report there. And then my friend, he seen, or his uncle seen one. I think it was like, shoot, I don't remember exactly what road it is, like maybe 227 or something between Harrisonville and Pleasant Hill. Uh, but his uncle seen one that walked across the road in front of him. So, that on the map that I looked up, there was sightings in James A. Reed and towards like Kingsville and Holden area and the Harrisonville area. So I I was floored. I didn't even know. Didn't even know.
Yeah. It sounds like there's been some activity there in the past. The lights that you encountered, what do they look like?
They look like two white lights, like just they were side by side, and they dipped down and kind of went around a little bit and then back up and then back down and then went around a little bit and then back up and then just disappeared. Because me and my friend were like, well, those ain't stars and though they ain't drones, because I thought maybe they could have been drones or something, but they just completely disappeared. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Were they on the lake or were they in the woods?
No, they were on the lake.
Oh man, that
Yeah,
makes me feel like that's possibly like UFO activity then.
I don't know. I ain't never really thought too much about the UFOs and stuff like that. Bigfoot is uh big enough stretch for me. I mean, I think, you know, he's out there and aliens I'm sure they out there too, but I'm not really into the whole UFO things. But I mean, what I did see was very unexplainable.
Yeah. And what else did you say you found? You found a jawbone and what else?
Yeah, when I started listening to you, I decided to go out to the lake. I've got a kayak, so I've kayaked this lake before as well, all the way to the back. And never this was before I was thinking that Sasquatch could be out there and stuff. Um, but I mean I went all the way to the back and stuff like that. But when I went last like a year ago and actually hiked a little bit of the trails. Like I said, first off, as soon as I got onto the trail, walking into the woods, right there on the ground, jawbone, and I'm like, huh, okay, because I you always talk about bones and stuff, finding bones and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is a jawbone from like a deer. What's it doing here? And then I kept on walking. I've got it all on video. I just got to figure out how to get it to you. Um, but and then I kept on walking down the trail, and there were just trees down left and right. And it's like if a storm did this, would it like just storm this little area and then like just miss everything else or what? So I don't know, man.
Well, I'm glad the podcasts have people looking for things and you just never know what you'll come across. I remember you saying that you used to live in East Texas. Did you ever encounter anything else or anything out there or talk to anyone who has?
No, I live directly east of Dallas. And yeah, I mean, I used to spend time out in the woods down there too, and I never thought that Bigfoot would be around there. Like I said, I always thought he was real, but I just didn't think he would be around my area, you know. But I've seen your podcast with people from East Texas and stuff. I think they was a little bit farther east and south of where I was at, but um, you got people that say they've seen them down in East Texas. So I mean, if I could go back now to what I think now, I might have seen some stuff, I might have noticed, hey, this is a weird tree pushover or something like that. But, my buddy had like 200 and something acres in east of Dallas, and we used to hunt every weekend, like hog hunt. And so we'd spend a lot of time out in them woods, night, days, whenever, all the time. But yeah, never like really seen anything that made me think, hey, this is Sasquatch or nothing like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you don't know anything about the topic, you don't really think about it and you're not looking or listening for anything strange.
Yeah. But I mean, he probably out there though, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are your plans in the future with this lake area and the power plant? Are you going to look around there and try to investigate the area?
Absolutely. Absolutely. like I said, I've been out there a couple of times, but since then, but yeah, I ain't got the right gear, for it all. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be out there looking around and stuff. I just don't know what I would actually do if I seen, an actual Sasquatch. I'm a Christian, and I don't want to be going against God or anything, by looking for a Sasquatch or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder the same. Am I looking for trouble? But if that was a Sasquatch at the pond, there should be structures somewhere in the area. There should be some sign, or you'll possibly run into another clan member.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would like to go and investigate that area, but like I said, I don't know who owns it and it's private. And I don't want to be like messing around that power plant. People probably be down on that a little bit. Um, but the cemetery across the street, like that whole area is a bunch of woods and stuff. And after we get off the podcast or whatever, I can give you the address or whatever, and you can look it up on your map if you want to and see what I'm talking about. But I mean, I've seen a bunch of like down trees and stuff over there in that area and stuff. So I don't know if that's Sasquatch or if that's just normal. But there's far and few houses, in there, so it's not a bunch. But somebody's if there's something out there, somebody's had to heard something. I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be worth like putting your report on the Bigfoot mapping project, and maybe other people will report things in the future.
Yeah, I thought about doing that, but I was like, I don't want to. It wasn't like a for sure sighting, and I don't want to like put false information on that map.
Yeah.
But I know what I seen, and I'm not the only one who's seen it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I just put on there what you saw, a black figure that was the size of a grizzly bear.
yeah. Well, I mean, he was knelt down, so he never like stood straight up or anything. But I don't know how big he was, but I wanted to get a better view. But I said these three dogs, they surrounded my truck, and I'm like, it's like I don't want to draw too much attention to myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you. And it was private land, so there wasn't too much you could do.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe one day though. Shoot,
Yeah.
get enough people saying, hey, we think there's really something around here.
Yeah, it might be worth asking the property owner if he's ever seen anything.
Yeah, I gotta figure out who that is. Like I said, I don't know who owns that property.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap things up or anything else that you'd like to share?
Um, nah, I mean, I don't think so, man. I'm just happy that I got to get on here and talk to you. I think it's worth investigating more. And I said I like your YouTube videos and stuff, and I like the Half Inch Wrench crew, and I like David. Y'all keep on doing it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate the encouragement, man. And if you encounter anything else in the future, definitely feel free to reach out to me. Or if something comes up, maybe we can get out there and investigate the area possibly.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Like I said, I will be going back out there and looking around. Now, since I done heard some weird shit, I'll be going back to see if I can find anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you find something strange, be sure to take the best photos you possibly can and send them my way. I'd love to check them out.
Yeah, I'd like to send you these videos. I just got to figure out how to do that.
Okay. That sounds good to me. All right, Josh. Well, I think that pretty well wraps up your experiences, and it was a pleasure speaking with you today. And I'm really glad you contacted me.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling me, and shoot, hopefully we can talk later on too.
Yeah, absolutely. You got my number now, so you know how to reach me.
Hey, Miguel, thanks, man.
Yep. You take care, Josh, and I will talk with you later.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right, bye.
Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Sasquatch Theory. Encounters like Josh's remind us that some places hold secrets just beneath the surface, sometimes watching us from the tree line, the water, or the shadows near places we think we know well. I thought this was a very fascinating report because I had a gentleman who served in the military that came on the show when I first started the channel, and he talked about this story that happened east of Kansas City where the state patrolman had to shoot this creature that was known as a gugway. It basically looked like a upright grizzly bear with a snout and short pointy ears that pretty much was killing people. And yeah, the state patrolman had to shoot the creature, and the guest said that he vividly remembers this encounter, this report being in the papers, and he said it's pretty much been erased from the public's eye, but anyone that grew up in that era, I think it was in the 60s, remembers this encounter being in the papers where the state patrolman had to shoot the creature, and they shot it a lot until it finally went down. It took a lot of shots anyways, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that was interesting because this is the same area, the same state, and not only that, on other channels I listened to Bigfoot reports, and the James A. Reed Memorial Wildlife Area often comes up, and it seems to be an active area. I haven't been there myself, but I really want to check it out to see if I can find any evidence or any clues. And yeah, this just goes to show that you don't have to be in the Mark Twain National Forest to experience cryptid activity. Sometimes strangeness is closer than we think. Thank you everyone for listening, and if you have a Bigfoot encounter you would like to share here on Sasquatch Theory, feel free to get in touch with me sometime at sasquatchtheory@outlook.com. And before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to all the people who have told the reports in the past here on Sasquatch Theory. Thank you guys so much, and all of this is possible because of you guys. And there are so many more believers now because of the channel, and I hear that all the time from people in the comments and through email that they had no idea these things were out there, and they always just thought if they did exist, they only lived in the Pacific Northwest, Canada, and Alaska. But the truth is, these things are everywhere. Until the next investigation, you guys be safe, stay curious, and watch your back out in the woods.